गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे ठा ठा करके
सुनिया कि तेरी गेम बड़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग पंगा ले आनी तू मुंडे नाल रॉन्ग मेरे उत्ते तेरा चलना नहीं टैक टैक दिल रखा विच बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट मुंडा देसी ना मैं बर्गर बॉय बंदा मार दे मैं पुछदा नहीं वाई टेलीस्कोप विच होया जेड़ा फोकस हेडशॉट ए निशाना एडा चौकस मैं किया पैराशूट ते like I'm falling out of love जीवे तेरी सोचा तो above जीवे तेरा चलना ही
गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे ठा ठा करके
Oh boy, don't cry. तेरी बातों से तू लगता है हाय कर ले तू चाहे जितनी भी ट्राई तेरे जैसे कई आए I'm a queen, मेरा सीन करे बात मेरी I'm16 नॉकआउट करूं दिल I'm so mean तू भी बचेगा नहीं कर ले यकीन तेरी गेम को मैं रूल करूं ऐसी बातें ना फजूल करूं बिना मेरा चिकन डिनर कभी हार ना कबूल करूं कभी हार ना कबूल करूं
तेरी अखियां दी गोलियां भी सह गया तेनू लगेया कि तेरे ते मैं रह गया and you thought you knocked me out मैं तो समझ बंद करन लई बह गया एडा सौखा नहीं कुड़ीए हराना मैनू 10 साल तो मैं जानदा ज़माना मैनू मेरे लिखण दा एहो जिहा स्टाइल जिवें हत्थ विच पड़िया मैं PUBG मोबाइल चाहता लिखां गाने राउंड जिवें खाली करा गल सीधी सीधी करा ना ख्याली करा मेरा स्वैग देसी मुंडा मैं ओरिजिनल कदी फ्लैक्स कुछ बन के ना जाली करा बैकी है पैराशूट ते like I'm falling out of love जीवे तेरी सोचा तो above जीवे तेरा चलना नहीं
गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे कुड़ी ठा करके गोली अखियां न मारे ठा ठा करके
Game over. अभी तो फिलहाल हम मेकअप कर रहे हैं. बंद का मतलब ये कि डोंट शूट. गेम मास्टर माकफुल टीम क्या खले माँ का बेटा. हाय बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है पबजी मोबाइल के साथ कोलैबोरेट करके. और अब मुझे एक और तरीका मिल गया अपने फैंस से कनेक्ट होने का. पख्तून फैंस से अपनी आवाज में पबजी मोबाइल खेलने का मौका मिलेगा. अपना अच्छा लगेगा. आप खुद सोचे. तो कोई एक चीज वियर्ड नहीं है. वो तो बहुत कुछ ऐसा कई दफा हुआ है कि थैंक यू वेरी मच कह के या बिल्कुल खामोशी से मैं निकल गई. पबजी तो मैं सोच रही हूँ जो इस वक्त मेरी टीम यहाँ पे मैं इनके साथ खेलूँ. मजे कवा कीप रॉकिंग. यूथ में मेरी बहुत फैन फॉलोइंग है और फैंस वाकई मुझसे बहुत ज्यादा प्यार करते हैं. बहुत हार्डकोर हैं. तो लेट्स गो. तो अभी हम रास्ते में हैं और हम जा रहे हैं अपने स्टूडियो की तरफ वॉइस ओवर्स के लिए. वॉइस पैक आने वाला है पबजी मोबाइल में पश्तो में. सो यस मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड. माँ कवर का अल्लाह का माँ सरा मदद का. और मुझे प्राउड इस बात पे कि मैं पठान हूँ, मुसलमान हूँ. मैं आज जो हूँ जहाँ हूँ यकीनन मेरे कल्चर की कदर ही है जो मुझे यहाँ तक लेके आई.
आप लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग कब शुरू करें?
बहुत जल्द मुझे लगता है. इसके बाद तो एक बनता है सेशन तो वो तो आप जल्दी देखेंगे मुझे. हेलो 1 2 3 4 चेक साउंड चेक. हाँ नहीं याला का माँ सरा मदद का माँ खबर का. हाँ देर का याला का तो पकड़ दे जमाफी वार. याला का ब्या बापा यूज़े गेम का ज़्यादा बच करम मनना माँ कवर का देर का माँ बांधे डज़ों के. So thank you PUBG मोबाइल. आप लोगों ने मुझे मौका दिया. मैं बहुत अच्छी लग रही थी. बहुत सारे कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स मिले. थैंक यू.
QWERTY Esports. It's all about the clarity that they have for their own goals, and that's the most important thing for a team to have. It's just in the name, but we'll have to say if it's in the game as well, because the name itself is new, but the team, we know with their experience, they come up together, they fight, they dominate most of the times, and that's the only thing that, you know, we're not expecting from them. They need to dominate the entire tournament when it comes down to it.
Exactly. I mean, this lineup in particular has been a lineup that dominates one map, that is
Miramar. They have the clarity that they own the Miramar, but will they be able to own the major matches that constitutes of Erangel as such for the starters, right?
You need to be good on Erangel because that is the map that's played the most. But we have a lot of expectations from QWERTY this time around as well, and hopefully they will deliver. So good luck to Team QWERTY for that. Team Freestyle.
Oh yes, definitely. With the incoming of Wasi and Malik, the duo look absolutely good in touch form. Now it all comes down to if they adapt with the incoming next 17 team. It all comes down to that.
Exactly. I mean, the competition is definitely going to be tough. And one thing that we've seen Freestyle struggle with quite a lot in their recent tournaments is the firepower. Have they fixed that? That is going to be the big question this time.
Definitely, they have been lacking so much in the past itself. But as I just mentioned, with the addition of Wasi and the other player, if they coordinate pretty well, I see them in the top 5 at least.
Exactly. But there is additional pressure on Freestyle. Let's not forget, this is the same team that represented Pakistan in the World League at one point. So hopefully they perform in this PMPL as well. And for that, we wish good luck to Team Freestyle.
PMPL exclusively for Pakistan. A chance to push your limits. The squads are ready to turn their dreams dreams into reality.
It's our chance to reach the biggest.
It's time to enter the dawn of new champions.
Let the action begin.
Well, today is the day where we finally get our top 16 teams that will be going on to play the finals. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final day of the Super Weekend number 3, the last Super Weekend of the PMPL Pakistan Spring 2022. Of course, brought to you by Oppo, who are our PUBG Mobile Esports Pakistan's official mobile phone partners. And joining along with me is going to be CA, who has been casting all the games of this week. So, how has it been, buddy?
It's been real fun. It's our last Super Weekend, so we're really seeing teams grappling the very edges of their qualification, trying to make it in there. And that's been a fun ride to watch, but it's also been just as fun watching the top teams free up a little bit, focus more on that elimination battle, leader fight altogether, and still manage to be able to pull out all the stops. And really, I want to see that continue today. It's the last day of the Super Weekend fixes. So much on the line for these teams.
So much, in fact, yeah. I mean, we've been taking a keen eye at the bottom half of the table, right? So much fierce competition going on down there. While the top half is pretty much just playing for the heck of it, you know, just to have some fun and also possibly get their hands on those $500 over there. And, you know, you talk about the big names. I'm pretty sure the first day I did cast a few matches, SALTxi8 and even the likes of QWERTY. They were in sublime form. But I think what our primary attention today has to be as to how teams like XGeneration play it around, how teams like the Regicide can they, you know, catch up, because I heard that their lead was sort of taken away from them.
Yeah, so XGeneration was able to take over Regicide. I believe there's about a 9 or 10 point gap right now with XGeneration in the lead. So it's still very, very close. It's still very enticing. Either team could honestly walk away with the qualification today. And in that regard, we've got a dark horse as well. TmW around the 80 point mark right now, but I believe over 50 points away. So that's why they'll have to really buck up and pull off a miraculous day 3 if they to make it happen. Because as you can see, fixes, it's all about making it to that PMPL Pakistan finals.
Oh yeah, indeed. And for the new viewers out there, we're finally done with all our league play days, out of which, you know, teams were divided into 5 groups each. As the top 16 only make it to the Super Weekend. It is the final day of the 3rd Super Weekend. So from here onwards on the overall rankings, we get to see the top 16 only qualifying to the finals of the PMPL Pakistan Spring 2022. And it's going to be a rather very interesting affair as we take a look at the massive prize pool of 1.76 crore Pakistani rupees. And not just that, you know, we've got separate prize pools for the MVP. We've got separate prize money as to whoever wins the league stage. I think SALTxi8, considering the kind of a difference that they've created between them and the other teams, I'm pretty sure they are going to be looking to be staying on top and get their hands on 2,64,000. Oh, my apologies there. It's for all the teams making it to the final. So that is, of course, there.
Yeah, but today is the last day to grab yourself the 500 USD chicken dinner per match prize that we've got for Super Weekends. Final day to get it on, and we'll see which teams are able to get it. Still, right now, in terms of chicken dinners, our leaders are MetershotxSKY Fixers, who are just like making Erangel look like such a dominant map for them. They just have one condition, you know, they like get us to the late game in a comfortable spot like a high ground or a compound or something where they can really fight from. Quite simply, they will get you the chicken dinner, and they're so damn good at it.
Oh, certainly. I mean, you talk about MetershotxSKY, kind of have cracked the code, right? This is what we're talking about every single time they come into Erangel and make it to the final phases of the circle. I think it's inevitable that they get the chicken dinner. But again, another team that has really impressed me so far has been 52x Rage. The kind of aggression that they've put on the table, that's pretty interesting to watch. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the pace that we are more interested in, because the competition
Yeah.
going on 18, 19 and 20, I think we can rule them out over here. TMW, it had been a long run. They went off to a good start, but still was not enough. But Regicide and XGeneration and the Grounders, we do have a tough competition cooking around here, and it's going to be so important for Regicide to really pick up the pace. And FMR3D, I think they're enjoying a little bit of that difference between them and the Grounders, so they're sort of good to go. But I think North Esports has also improved drastically, considering the fact that they've missed out on the first Super Weekend.
Oh, 100% fixes. Though out of those 3 chicken dinners, they've got 2 of them were just yesterday. And they had a phenomenal day to really... They were around that bottom fight, the way XGeneration, Grounders and Regicide are. But those 2 chicken dinners, well, you can see that created a good enough gap for them to now be feeling confident going into the grand finals, that they do have what it takes. They might have missed the initial Super Weekend, but the fact that they adapted, the fact that they rallied back strong is going to be their shining light. But I also want to see if TMW can find a miracle really coming into today. It does look gloomy, to be honest. They were not. They had a decent start yesterday, but they were not able to build up on it whatsoever. And they kept getting shut down in those later circles. I feel like that's why they've just got to get aggressive from the start. I don't think playing it slow is going to work in this particular lobby anymore.
And to top it off as well, we do also know for the fact that the teams that are already doing well would be there causing a lot of menace for the other teams, right? Especially, I think the most notorious ones this time during the PMPL has to be Team SALTxi8, right? The way they just keep on searching after squads. They don't care if they get taken down, but a little bit of a head-to-head between the players of 52X Rage, and performance comparison between the second Super Weekend against the third Super Weekend. You could see aeons of difference over here in every aspect altogether, right? So this level of confidence is much needed, especially when you're heading into the finals.
Actually, that one word you said, confidence, really, that perfectly explains these statistics from 52X Rage. Yesterday, they were just feeling like a beast unleashed, and continuously during the cast, I was left wondering, is this because they're guaranteed to make it to the finals? Because if this is what their team can play like without pressure, they need to find a way to get rid of that pressure in the grand finals, because when there is pressure on them, they do seem to succumb to it in certain situations. If they can turn up with this style of gameplay that they're able to do without that pressure, I think they will be a serious team to watch out for coming into finals.
Oh yeah, I mean, I am loving how these teams are picking up pace, right? 52X Rage knew that they had to show everything that they had, and I think likewise, if you take a look, eventually earlier on, if you remember, it was about Daku and faster delivering. But I really liked, Pharaoh and Zen coming into the roster and making sure that they are the ones who are getting a majority of the frags, just ousting faster and Daku. So they've got a little bit of a competition between themselves. But as long as it's healthy, as long as they are earning enough points, I think I don't have anything to complain about.
Exactly, and it's not like they're doing it in any sort of weirdly defensive manner that can be exploited or broken easily. No, they're doing it with just the confidence in them to take those fights and deliver. Again and again, you can see for 52X Rage, I'd say the only fault in these fights that you're going to notice has been that sometimes they push it too far, but I think that's a fault that I'm very much happy with, because if a team is doing that, it means that they're hella confident, they're on the same page about playing that aggressive nature, and therefore, even if they're making the wrong moves, sometimes it'll work out just because they're doing it all together, and that sort of synchronization is key. Oh, and I remember this nade from Daku. This is what I mean by teamwork. One nade and then the spray for the backup, everyone is gone. Instant.
Yeah. And we're getting acquainted to see more of these boys, right? 52X Rage, especially the way they have recovered themselves, inside the third Super Weekend. They've been phenomenal, right? But again, this is one of the teams that everyone needs to be worried about. SALTxi8, the kind of a dominance they have established. We're gonna talk about them just a wee while later. But for now, look at their seismograph. As you can clearly see, the mid phases around the second Super Weekend. That is, we could not see a lot coming in from their side. But ever since the third Super Weekend, the third league play days, I think you could see those charts rising up, and I think we all do love a graph like this, right? You start off on a medium pace, and then suddenly you go to a dip, and then you pick yourself up, and then you are absolutely, just going all out, and that's such a nice thing to happen at them at such a crucial time. In fact, just before the finals, regaining their form back. All they have to do is, even today, capitalize on the momentum that they have built for, and I believe they should be good to go.
100%, and I really, it's exciting to see how the way they're able to deliver and grow so much forward. I think TUF is another great example of the same. But I think, again, something that does stand out in that regard to that graph is the ups and downs. I think that's what teams are going to have to correct going in to the finals, and this is another team that is a great example, really. I think you can see in terms of Super Weekend 2, they had a great Super Weekend. Of course, we all remember that effective hat-trick of chicken dinners they got over the 3 Erangels they played. But I think, again, a team that has had many ups but many downs as well. They just need that consistency flowing.
Yeah, I think the second Super Weekend has to be one of the best Super Weekends that MetershotxSKY could ever pull out of their, magic hats. Because honestly, the way they were playing back-to-back hat tricks in Erangel, so much consistent and stable performance, not just in Miramar, not just in Erangel, but also sort of reflected that in Miramar. So clearly shows that MetershotxSKY is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And the way HELSI has been playing, I mean, he's such a brilliant lad, and along with him, Kian and Katir. I really like that they've also picked up the pace. They're not feeling themselves to be liabilities, rather they're playing as a team. Of course, haven't really been able to reflect it in the same manner as to how they played in the Super Weekend number 2. But I believe, see, that Super Weekend 3 has nonetheless has been sort of okay, or even better than okay for them. But yeah, there's always scope of improvement. They certainly can do better.
Exactly, and there's scope to actually see that improvement as well with our final day, right? So we don't have the final stats of Super Weekend 3, but really, like you said, I think the biggest conclusion from Super Weekend 2 was their ability to continuously close out these Erangel games. You see, most of their highlights are in those Erangels is because they're just so damn good at controlling that small knit area that they always play in. They're not like a 52x Rage who is separated, They're like a team who continuously likes to play off of the back of each other. And even that 1v3 play, I saw the HELSI play I was talking about, 52x Rage, they had the circle in their favor, they had the man number in their favor, but just perfect utilization gets MetershotxSKY that win, and somehow they pull it out in those clutch moments every time.
Oh, certainly. And, the way MetershotxSKY, you can clearly see at the graph as well, we've seen a lot of highs from their side. Eventually, after the start of the first Super Weekend is where we saw that little bit of a dip, a little bit of a run of that bad form. But ever since, I think I've got no complaints. We've still witnessed a few bad couple of games, but that is okay, right? That happens to the best of the lot. But for MetershotxSKY, like you clearly said, right, it has always been about steering off of fights in the early phases. It's, they always make sure that they focus on the rotation. And while on rotation, I'm seeing that tendency that now they're not really shying away from picking fights, right? Even if they've got a squad in front of them, they're going for it. Unlike how they played in the first Super Weekend when they used to try and steer away from it. And this is a positive sign, right? And today also, with them knowing that they're still qualified, they're still gonna get the same amount of prize, even if they finish off a few positions higher. So we're gonna witness that little bit of an aggressive play maybe coming out from themselves. But this team, Team TUF, one of my favorite teams from the second Super Weekend heading into the third Super Weekend. Well, I mean, they've done decent in terms of the survival time, because that is the only positive, factor that I can take from this head-to-head. But regardless, I think the second Super Weekend has to be their best. But still, see, I must say that they do have a lot of, they still have 5 games to go, so they can really change things around maybe.
Yeah, 100%. And you can see they have the firepower to make it happen too. Edgar and Joker really have been the players who've been standing up to a large extent in this last few weeks so far. And they will be the ones again leading the charts, because these are 2 players again in the top 10 of the elimination board, But I think what especially has TUF stand out to me is the fact that last week you're thinking about it, where did this team come from out of nowhere? And our question always was, can they show us consistency in that one weekend? They answered that with a resounding yes. Coming into Super Weekend 3, our question was, surely they're not going to be able to do it just as good again. And they have. The stats quite similar to each other already. And if they pull off a similar day 3, I think it almost establishes themselves as that potential titan that can challenge the SALTxi8s going into the finals.
Yeah, I think one of the players that we'll have to talk about has to be Joker, right? The way he's been collecting finishes for his team. I think it's something that we really need to be happy about. But it's not just Joker anymore, right? I think Virus and Edgar have also picked up the pace, and they're getting quite a lot of finishes to their names. But Thor is finding himself to be trying to get himself settled in, and I think once he does that, TUF are gonna look even stronger. Now, TUF is not one of the squads that is lately formed. Rather, we have seen them for quite some time. Few additions had been made whatsoever. But yeah, their seismograph clearly shows that from the second Super Weekend, we have seen their rise, and well, they've sort of managed to maintain it. It was just yesterday, a little bit of a dip in form, but regardless, I think no complaints from their side.
Yeah, absolutely no. I think they will just be concerned about carrying this form over to the rest of the matches. Maybe correcting a map or two that they don't necessarily have as much success on. We usually see them thrive on them Erangels. And also, of course, to continue their charge in terms of the elimination leaderboards. I'm sure they'll at least want to make top 3. Because honestly, top 1 is kind of hard. Crypto is in a league of his own. It's just 420 Boy who's getting somewhat close to challenging him.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a really interesting competition, because early on, I mean, the storyline was all about Crypto and his competition with his own teammates. I think Blade was in the race, and we did have Uzim also making it. It was just about when his reviews they are gonna make it. But for all you guys out there, we all know that the AMP is a broken weapon right now in the battlegrounds, and you might want to get your hands on these two amazing, lovely, really old and retro skins. I've seen these two skins back from when I started playing PUBG Mobile, so clearly not available so often these days. So don't forget to make sure that you are glued to the stream, because a secret code might pop up anytime during the game, and that is when is your cue to head off to your redeem stores and get the weapons for yourself, and time to sort of flex it in front of your teammates. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's due time that we get started with our first game of the evening, and nothing out of ordinary. We're gonna start off with Erangel through Erangels for the day in alternative fashions, and we do have Miramar and Sanhok coming in between, and these two maps have always been the X factors. Anything can possibly happen, especially in Sanhok.
100%, really. But when you look towards the Erangel map chance, you can see again a reflection in terms of the teams who we have seen thriving most recently. You got MetershotxSKY in there, you got North, you got 52x Rage. I'm a little bit surprised we actually see FMxR3D in there. Shows you that they've been sneakily making those improvements that we wanted to see, and slowly rising coming into this final Super Weekend. We'll see the final result of it all in the finals, but maybe a sneak peek today. Maybe they grab themselves a chicken dinner.
Oh, they certainly can, and we're really hoping. But I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to directly head in to the greener pastures of Erangel, as I do not see a player on the bottom right corner. All I see is a ceiling fan, and I'm wondering
He's your
who.
Fan.
Yeah, I think he's from North Esports. Maybe. I spot out Zameen.
Looking up north. Oh, but that's in the air. That's not Zameen. All jokes aside, we're going into Erangel fixes, heading in from the northwestern side, heading towards the southern, like quite standard flight path, accessible to almost all teams. But come on, man, we've been asking for the drop contestations, the aggressiveness from teams for so long. Maybe, come on, finally they'll actually give it to us and deliver, because if not in Super Weekend final day, then it's probably never. I doubt they're going to do it in the grand finals.
Yeah, I think today is a day where you would want to spark up some good old rivalries, right?
Yeah.
Especially just drop after SALTxi8, go and contest them in the military base. Say that you're gonna come for them during the finals, and have a little bit of that fear instilled in their hearts. But for now, I think the teams, they're just gonna mind their own business. CUF Clarity drop off at George Paul. Respectively, TUF more going towards the hospital, 52x Rage. They're gonna mind their own business, heading around Star, of course, dropping off at Siverny. MetershotxSKY and SALTxi8, they're gonna be taking the Southern Island to themselves as Regicides drop off at Milta. And the circle formed out over here is one of the circles that I think we've also witnessed in the past. Kind of tends to go a little bit around those eastern sides of the Georgia Paul containers, and we were sort of anticipating, this particular circle used to head out a lot towards ruins, but this time we haven't seen more of those ruin circles, so I'm gonna be surprised if it heads over there. But for now, I don't see any drop contestation happening really well. Few teams are nearby to each other, maybe TmW and QWERTY can you know just go after each other. I think that's the only area that I'm getting a little concerned about, because TMW ideally, well, they don't head over there, right? I think they're going after the players of XGeneration, so that is going to be really interesting to see.
Most definitely, Fixer. It's going to be quite illuminating to witness how these teams do navigate these locations, and I think especially for TMW, right? It's all of the trials and tribulations they face, it will be just completely forgotten if they're able to pull it off right here. They are going to be a little sad though. They didn't go for their standard Zarki drop. They're stuck in a massive hot spot, like a high traffic zone. 5 teams, including them around this area, as compared to Zarki, which would have been in the circle and completely empty right now. TMW also right now though are close to their main enemies. Regicide on their south, XGeneration on their north, so maybe we get to see that decisive blow. Fixes, see them going for one of those and just take it fast from the very beginning.
I was kind of wondering as to why TMW did opt for their substitute coming in, El Fatiha, right? They were already kind of struggling there. Maybe wanted to give him some game time. I think that's the only possibility that I can imagine of. But I really felt had TMW performed out of their minds during the first day of this third super weekend, things could have been different, right? They could have been in fighting contestation. However, they still can. It's just a matter of getting, let's say, like 3 or 4 chicken dinners for the evening. I mean, it's not impossible. It is theoretically possible that they can achieve such a feat, but it's going to be so difficult otherwise. But for team like Star, I think this is one of the teams here that has been in the thick and thin of things. We have seen their good moments. We have seen a little bit of a downfall, but still, quite comfortably at the 11th spot. I think they've ensured that they are heading to the finals. But for teams like 4VTFT, I mean, you've got to say it, right? They might just qualify barely by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for them, despite not making it, qualifying will be a huge boon. With the wake-up call necessary, having not qualified for the Super Weekend, like, bro, they need to get their ideas together. And it's quite cool in that way. Fixes changes that have been the last 2 super weekends we've had. There's been so many radical changes with regards to which teams in the middle of the pack area, from that 6th to like 16th mark, the changes that have been made, where at one point we saw teams like Freestyle, Quantum Rage leading the charges at the starting, having that downfall, now starting to push back, occupying that 10th spot. Even Magnus, for that matter, right? They are now starting to rally back and showcase some of the form they showed us all the way back in week 1. So it's almost like the circle has come around and we are seeing the full cycle of the PMPL Pakistan, but the cycle comes to one grand showdown in just 1 week. So teams, they are on a clock.
Oh, they certainly are, and today we will have our top 16 teams, and it's going to be so exciting. But we've got to take a quick glance at the map feed and see how teams are trying to traverse around. Of course, XGeneration. It's going to be such a high pressure day for them. They know that they are the easier targets today. A lot of teams will be going after them, would be trying to also possibly ruin their chances into making it to the top 16. But pressure is also going to be on Regicide, who yet CA haven't really started off with their rotation, right? Still getting down with their loot. They're going to be late to the party. They're going to be trying to play around the edges. But I really like what FMR3D did, right? Directly went on towards the eastern Georgia Paul squad house, over there, and just they will hold down the fort, and we'll wait for the zone to eventually shrink. And that is how they're gonna carry on with the game. But what are your thoughts about FMR3D CA this Super
No,
Weekend?
I think this Super Weekend they've been much better. Still not the top level of performance we think we can expect from them, given again the fact that they're an invited team, right? They're an experienced team. They have the capability to make that level of performance happen, but certainly it's been much better as compared to what we witnessed in the initial stages, and I think they will be happy about that and just look to take that momentum into the rest of this match. Now, I am glad, like you mentioned, that Regicide, they hadn't gone for the rotation yet. I was concerned for a second that many a time across that area we've seen the bridge contestation between MetershotxSKY and Regicide, and it kind of destroys both of the teams irrespective of who wins, because they get stuck in that area for so long that they never get a good spot. But this time Regicide, they make the move. They might have to contest with another Sosnovka Island team in SALTxi8.
Oh yeah, and that's going to be so interesting, right? Because Regicide, at this point we have a different fight ensuing in front of us. Of course, Star up against Clarity, and I think we've seen this situation twice or thrice, right? They kind of tend to lock heads with each other over at this place, particularly, especially Clarity. They've taken so many fights over here, won a few, lost a lot, and they've been learning ever since. And I think Clarity, they have recovered, right? Recovered from how they were performing in during the third league play days. But for now, Pika from R3D has been taken down. I think nothing to worry about, not threatening at all, because of course Clarity or anybody could not really effectively push at them by just getting one knock.
Yeah, exactly. In that sense, I think most teams are certainly feeling comfortable right now. It's almost become a tradition that it really is that the end of the second circle at minimum, but usually towards the third and fourth circle, where we get to see the action really starting to get flowing. And I'm really curious where this circle will end up going. We had a similar one yesterday, Fixes, and it ended up going to a shooting range, actually, like towards the northern side of Georgiapol area almost, and I was a little disappointed because I was hoping we get a Georgiapol containers finish. But the way this circle has shifted, it looks like I'm going to be a little disappointed again. It looks like it is going to go back either to that northern shooting range side area or maybe even to that Rozok Island again.
Yeah, I mean, this particular circle shift, well, I really feel that it's gonna come down below. Somewhere around the ruins is still a strong gut feeling. But anything is possible, quite honestly, right? But as we take a look at how the circle has been really forming around, a lot of teams are actually building up on the center, right? They're sort of congregating over there, and it's going to be important as to what happens next. But for the teams that are playing around the edges, we've got to bring in SALTxi8 and the others into the scenario. As looking at this FMR3D, they're being contested over here by the players of Quantum Ray. JD, being unaware of Hassan's positioning, will find himself knocked out as two more, Sparky and Sirius, are trying trying to go ahead with the push. As Hassan, he's gonna get a little bit greedy over there, went in for the finish, but instead got knocked down by Alpha. As finisher somehow has to keep things alive for his team, but no, Sparky just clutches it by his whisker as Pika will be following up suit along with the Nubis, and Quantum Rage have quite a few of their players already bleeding. In fact, the last surviving player, Alpha, has made it up here, but this is a moment where FMR3D can consider going in for the revive.
FMxR3D, they're gonna do just that, fixes. Try to convert this situation into a one that favors them numbers wise, while Pika, he tries to hold down Alpha. The nade lands, and the stopping power should be enough now. With Hassan OP back on his feet, they should be able to get finisher back online as well. Figure me, Tinder, we've got the fights breaking out already at the start of this second circle. We've got Magnus eliminated, I believe, all the way through, so more than one area in tandem breaking apart, but Alpha just by the nick of his teeth escaping that Molotov. For how long, Fixes? He's gonna get hunted down now by this four-man squad.
Oh, he certainly is, and has revealed his exact location. Should not be a cause of concern for Pika, but I'm curious to see what happened to that George Paul squad house, right? And like I was anticipating, that has been taken away from FMR3D, so it must be a little concerning to them, because Clarity took it over just the moment they went in for a fight. But still, a good thing for FMR3D, still managed to get themselves a squad wipe and Quantum Rage at that. So that's a good news coming in for them. But 52x Rage, they have decided, they're just going to be playing from the edges, and so have the players of XGeneration, completely steering off the competition. You could see they are under tremendous pressure, and the only thing that their eyes would be looking out for, CA, is for the fact that Regicide get eliminated early on.
Yeah, exactly. All peeled on that kill feed for just the hope that R3G will pop up, and on the right hand side, not on the left hand side, because if they're on the left hand side, they're grabbing a lot of points. And that's where we'll have to see how it does unfold. But we got yet another centralized shift of the circle. Fixes FMxR3D in a great position, and I'm actually, Regicide is all the way down south, actually in hot position, because it all depends on their decision making here. If they go all the way around through hospital, maybe they end up in a good spot, actually probably in front of their rivals in XGeneration, and they are going to do just that. But we've got Freestyle right now potentially going to run into SALTxi8 with TUF on the high ground right next to them. That might turn into a massacre of Freestyle.
Oh, that certainly can. And for Freestyle, haven't seen the best of their days yet, haven't really recovered. But yeah, the 10th position is still something that they find themselves comfortable in. But for now, QWERTY playing from the edges themselves, a little bit of a bunker to play around with, a little bit of a trench to try and spot the players out. Ever since these additions were made into Erangel 2.0, I felt it was so much needed, right? Because sometimes it used to get so out in the open, right? There was no place to hide, and teams used to face a lot of problems while dealing with situations. But yeah, the developers made a quick fix to it, and with the latest addition, the new changes being made around the military bases bridges, I think that is something that to look out for. I haven't really seen a lot of bridge fights, but regardless, I'm gonna have my eyes on that. But for now, this is where we could see the players of Team Magnus getting eliminated with Cairo, just the last player, the Grounders, being the one to below that hammer into their heads, rather. But now, SALTxi8, we've got to see as to how they're going to perform against Freestyle.
SALTxi8 just trying to, I think at this point, play it safe in their corner. They have an idea TUF is nearby, but this is what I was talking about, Fixes, that long rotation for Regicide puts them in this dodgeable container area, right in front of their rivals XGeneration, where Thug, he's looking at the wrong side. If he was looking to his left, he might have spotted out Regicide's players, but actually I'm not sure how this ended up happening, but it's going to be a free elimination point for JD, and that too from Regicide's body. That's what you called a sweet elimination point.
Yeah, this is something, at the same time, they're going to be feeling it at the back of their minds, right? Alright, Regicide is very close to where we stand right now, and we've got to be careful about them, But yeah, I think JT must be proud. But there you go, the shift coming down below, and Clarity, they're going to be pretty happy about the compound that they're holding onto, as Marlega will get the better out of Snow, staying within the circle and doing some massive damage to the players of North Esports, as Avenger, his vehicle just about to blow up, but Healthy from the backlines knocks out Marlega over here.
MetershotxSKY. We've seen that late rotation work out so well so many times, but it might work out so well that they end the dream, because you got TmW quite near them with North Esports closing in from the back as well, and QWERTY trying to get into the edge of the circle now. Fixes again. I think we're going to go back soon to that southern fight that we were seeing earlier between SALTxi8 and Freestyle, with TUF lurking in the shadows, and you can see on the circle TUF, that mountain range they're on, it's still included in the circle, so I think they'll just look to maintain that position in that way. Wait for a fight like the one between SALTxi8 and Freestyle to erupt before pouncing.
Oh yeah, they certainly will, as Ash now eventually gets knocked down, and he was the one who tried to go after the players of the TMW, and MetershotxSKY find themselves in a little bit of a dicey situation, as Marlega will be moving ahead with his buggy trying to scour around the land, as well, Big Boss is going to give the revive on towards his teammate over there, as Healthy is going to be following suit from the back lines, and Harry and Big Boss, they're going to both meet their makers, have their knocks stolen by the players of QWERTY.
Oh boy. TMW, they're not going to be so happy about that. For a second, it looked like the fight might go their way, but it's all been turned around. QWERTY being the disruptors and ending the dreams is now Althea. He's caught in the middle of many a cars trying to run him down while bullets come and rip him apart. Althea will go down. TMW left with one last hope in Marlega MVP, but I don't know, man. He looks like he's stuck. I don't think he's going to be able to make it out, and yeah, that's what we see. TMW, they have been eliminated in the 13th spot with just 2 eliminations. Fixes not a great start at all to that miracle run, which was the only thing that could have got them out.
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping for better things to happen, but really getting at the brunt of things. But SALTxi8, a few players, I can see them falling down to the players of Freestyle, so it's going to be respite for them. And SALTxi8, they haven't really been shying away from any fights. They did what they always wanted to, but this time not working out for them. As Star, they're going to be trying to get themselves inside the circle. It's going to be rather interesting as to how they're going to try and do that, as the circle, like we predicted, went a little bit down south, and this is where teams like Freestyle, they're going to find themselves in a very competitive position to try and get the chicken dinner, especially with all their players alive, and 3 finishes out of SALTxi8, so certainly also going to bolster up their morals over here.
Oh, most certainly. In that regard, really also make them feel strong about their position heading into that grand finals area. But right now, we've got a huge shoreline focus from these teams. They're expecting, again, that centralized shift of the circle to come through. And will it be? We'll find out right about now. And it's not. It goes all the way to the east, favoring FMxR3D heavily and putting a lot of the teams under the fire who are trying to rotate in from the west. Namely, one we're going to start seeing is Regicide and 52x Rage Fixes. They're stuck in the middle between the team in the circle and the team on the extreme edge of XGeneration.
Oh, it's going to be so interesting as to what really happens over here, but we do have a fight on our hands, as 52x Rage will just go charging in at Star's direction, get as many finishes as possible, increase the points tally up a little bit, and they've been doing exactly the same. God Fury can see him knocked out inside the waters, but from the back lines, XGeneration coming out of nowhere, secure those 2 finishes, and with that, 52x Rage Esports, they've been eliminated, as XGeneration find themselves up with 5 finishes, and this is such a good sign for them, such a good game, considering Regicide with just that 1 player surviving. Now JD being knocked down. I think there's still chance that he can get Res back up, but or maybe not, because the circle seems to start closing in.
Yeah, it seems quite disturbing proposition right now for all of the teams stuck outside the circle, because the way this terrain is also structured, FMxR3D have a huge advantage, and the only way in is the only safe way in rather is the way Uzum is adopting, through the water. But we all know the water is somewhat cursed in PMPL Pakistan so far. Once you enter, you usually exit with your corpse, not really with the live factor right there. But we've seen QWERTY in the past pull off from the very similar circles here a win, and we'll have to see if they can do it again. Right now it's just FMxR3D with the potential to dominate, but TUF, even though they're far out, with the team all the way in, they're trying to capture Freestyle's position. Can they do it without a third party coming in? Can they do it quickly, though, is the question.
And look at this, TUF really backing on the situation over here with Freestyle. Just getting into the waters for a swim through to get to the other side. But Gravity sure wanted to capitalize on that, but will be retaliated back, in fact, right on his knees by Edgar. We gotta get to see that, resurrections of DMRs, and I really thought, DMRs were really out of meta, but, Edgar showing us how strong it can really be, as Uzum did come out for some more too, but instead, received a lot of bullets.
Not ideal whatsoever, but with this circle now starting to move in, these players are feeling a lot more congested, and I think Freestyle, that's the problem for them right here, because if they try to land on the shore, maybe Uzum will come out and pop them up, but if they try to come back, then TUF will, and that's where the backup from QWERTY is something they'll be thankful for. Wilbury pushes back TUF and allows Freestyle a moment to get into the shore. Look at Uzum, man. Bullets being fired across multiple shorelines, smokes being traded, players desperate to find cover, and Uzum just having a casual swim.
Oh, certainly, and he's just taken the backseat of the buggy over there, and he's gonna try and remain alive for as long as possible. Steve Wolf, he gets taken down from elsewhere. We've got to see exactly where that came from, as Bashir dishing out all the damage from up above, as Thug, he's gonna cook a grenade at QWERTY's direction.
Now look at this. QWERTY stuck on the cliffs as XGeneration tried to move it forward. Remember, back to the fight we have for that 15, 16, 17 spot. XGeneration, Regicide and the Grounders in play, but the Grounders are already eliminated, which gives XGeneration and Regicide a chance to push back and try to build that momentum. XGeneration trying to do exactly that by pressuring QWERTY here for 420. Boy, man, how does he dodge all that?
I have no idea. I have no idea how did he do that. And surely has become Aquaman inside the waters, as 420 boy clearly has his eyes on the elimination leaderboard. Thug coming in from the sidelines. Crawling was so very well prepared for him, but wasn't quite prepared for the threat from behind. But 420 boy still keeping his team in contention amidst all the bullets flying at his direction, taking water to be the cover for him right now, as JD does have a chance to get himself back on his foot.
SALTxi8 have been eliminated in the meantime. TUF making the water rotation to get into the edge of the shoreline. With XGeneration, they haven't been able to shut down 420 boy. That Aquaman power you're talking about fully coming into play, as he's come into the land and shut down XGeneration's hopes and dreams with a little bit of help from FMxR3D. XGeneration eliminated in the 6th spot. They'll not be happy about the fact that Regicide, they've still got one player surviving, along with 420 boy just swimming and swimming and hoping and hoping.
It's getting so interesting, things are getting heated up. Vaz, look at him, he's made it so far, and he's gonna make it to the top 3 at the very least. But just as we speak, the Casters Curse coming in, getting eliminated at the 5th position, and the worst thing is that they have no finish points compared to XGeneration, who've had quite a lot. But for now, Joker has of course taken quite some damage over there. They know exactly where 420 OP is, as FMR3D, I think the chicken dinner is pretty much theirs, nothing to worry about. Inside the circle have the best compound to themselves, and the only looming threat, I must say, could be QWERTY if they manage to successfully take down a player or two from FMR3D. But otherwise, I think this is basically their game to lose.
I think really that fight between TUF and QWERTY will decide it. If any one of those teams takes down the other in a decisive manner without much loss in terms of their own team, then maybe that team has a chance of contesting FMxR3D. But if the fight between TUF and QWERTY is bloody, messy, and you see losses on both sides, then that's just a freebie for FMxR3D. As long as they're able to control 420 Boy on this flank for TUF, they're going to turn the tables and pile the pressure on both teams at once. They find knocks, not just in QWERTY, but in FMxR3D as well. TUF, man. They're like a group of ninjas moving around in this battlefield.
Oh, certainly, as now, one after the other. Look at FMR3D, 12 finishes amassed already. But yeah, like you said, you've got to give it to TUF. Such a valiant effort out there, but now reduced numbers on them. As 420 Boy, he's still surviving for his team, and we know every single time this lad makes it to the final game, he comes up with something magical, but maybe not this time, going up against Hassan, and 420 Boy still has managed to secure that knock. I just do not know how on earth does he manage to do it, but has been the case today as well. As FMR3D, they're going to be having their hands on TUF for the meanwhile, as Hassan, he lies knocked out, but Jokisser, he's bleeding. Now FMR3D one step closer on getting that chicken dinner. Just will thwart that Molotov at 420 Boy's direction. Has taken quite some hefty amount of damage, but still not out of the picture.
Yeah, not just yet. 420 Boy playing very, very safe right here. He's caused so many issues for all of the remaining teams, and he's managed to get himself a second place finish, but I'm sure he wants more. Finds the one knock onto Anubis, switches the weapons, looking for finisher R3D. He's almost going to be able to knock him down in the one knock. 420 Boy coming up huge, man. He got the chicken dinner, I believe. Yup, 420 Boy pulling it off.
No way.
Wow.
No, I'm done. Can we just, shut down the show and everything, because FMR3D. Well, I mean, kudos to 420 Boy. That was a very nice clutch. But FMR3D 101 how to throw a game, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing really taken away. They spotted him out. None of them were able to dish out the damage, and as a result of which they will have to give away those $500 to QWERTY Esports, as they have managed to get the winner chicken dinner out of nowhere possibly, just clutching it out till the end. And wow, I mean, that has to be one for the highlight reels. Take a bow for 420 Boy.
I'm just in shock, man, still. Like, as a casting, I was like, surely, they're gonna kill him now. No, they're gonna kill him now. No, they're gonna finally kill him now. And they didn't. 420 Boy just one by one. Definitely how to throw 101 by FMxR3D, but 420 Boy, to even make it that far, to pull it off, just hats off performance altogether.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna talk about a lot of what happened in this matchup, but after this short little break.
Go!
It's your chance
to reach the biggest. Let the action begin.
Well, there you have it. And wow, the Oppo F21 Pro in all its might and glory, and it is going to be launching just in the next couple of hours, 11th of April in Pakistan, for all you guys out there. And might want to check that one out if you want your winner chicken dinners, because that has been the go-to mantra for all these players. But yeah, what an interesting turn of events here. I mean, just clutching it back for Team QWERTY. Well, when they looked really out of contention for the top spot, somehow they seem to have managed to
Yeah.
get the job done. How?
I don't know, man. That's a painful one too, because that's minus 500 USD from FMxR3D. Forget the play, forget the momentum and the morale it will create. I mean, it's kind of hard to forget, not gonna lie. But then to add on to all of that, you've got the 500 USD. And for clarity, is just again a lot of confidence from 420 boy too. I wonder if this affects his standings in the elimination leaderboards actually, because he was very, very close to Crypto previously.
Yeah, he certainly was, and I'm pretty sure he's going to catch up pace with the way he's been performing. But for now, for FMR3D, it's going to be Hassan who gets the MVP this time. 6 elimination for this very young lad, and he's managed to do a really decent job, right? What the biggest obstacle, rather, I must say, for FMR3D before absolutely getting clutched, annihilated by 420 boy, was the fight against Quantum Rage. I think that was the most pivotal fight, a 2-2 split for FMR3D, where Pika and Anubis were on the backlines, were on the George Paul squad house, and they had to follow it up. I think them winning that particular fight sort of established that foundation for a lot of more finishes that did come later on. As we take a look at the top players, 6 eliminations for Hassan, 6 eliminations also for 420 boy, but in my humble opinion, of course, the statistics do say it was Hassan, but 420 boy deserves it by a mile.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think the statistics don't account for the impact of the play, right? So,
yeah,
really, in that way, I think 420 boy most certainly deserves it, and for him, it's just going to be now a case of continuing these performances throughout. And it's so interesting because when you think about the fact that all the way back to Super Weekend 1, this was a player who kept dying early and kept getting caught out. You know, it was an issue for clarity, but not only have they resolved it, they got 420 boy with his prime time firepower really come online. And even in this comparison, you can see FMxR3D, it was their game to win. 420 boy, he pulled it up.
Oh yeah, and you know, at this, look at that, right? Everything's just favoring FMR3D, but 420 just came out of syllabus for these lads, and I'm kind of rather surprised, you know. Honestly, they knew where he was, his position was locked and loaded, and somehow they were just unable to get that finish on him, and that's so ridiculous because, you know, 420 just did not. I think he switched his weapons twice during that one particular fight, so clearly shows that either the players of FMR3D were just lost or something really wrong happened to them. But for now, let's take a look at the match summary, and there you go. 420 boy still on that tippity top. Highest damage, highest assist. However, going to PK3D, the way he's been performing, I think, CA this time around the league play days and then just carrying it forward, I think FMR3D certainly will feel a little bit happy about how things have gone, really.
Yeah, I think they'll be pleased with the way the final Super Weekend has gone. I think that's where, in my opinion, for them, it's just become a case of they've certainly evolved. They're no longer the fumbling team we were witnessing in Super Weekend 1 or 2, but I feel like they still haven't hit their maximum potential. This right here won't help with that because of the fact that they kind of bungled a 1v3, but still 26 points, that's a hefty pickup. 14 eliminations is going to give them a lot of confidence in the belief that if they've got that advantage in the circle in terms of the area they're in, they can certainly pull one out of the bag.
Yeah, and more than that, I think I'm really happy with the way Team QWERTY have also been performing, and TUF at the very least, right? Considering the kind of a situation that they were in early on, and how they recovered, right? As we take a look at the Oppo moments, clearly they're one of the most pivotal fights. But this is where even we witness Magnus getting finished off. But for FMR3D, I mean, that little compound became so important, and it got so exciting when the zone shifted towards them, right? Not a lot of us were anticipating in that, and that is where all the chaos ensued through the map. And you know, more than that, right? I think for Team QWERTY, they were playing around the edges. They managed to hold it on for quite a long time. 7 finishes, not too shabby. Still in pursuit for that coveted winner chicken dinner. But regardless, they must be really happy by the consistency that they've been showing. I think during the finals, they will have to figure out a way on getting those winner chicken dinners, but because that is what will decide how their performance is going to be in the finals, whether or not they qualify for the stages ahead or in the PMPL.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I think for all of these teams fixes, I almost all 14 teams, I'd say it's only 15, 16, 17 that are really concerned. Day 3 is no longer about trying to make it to the grand finals. It's about trying to make it to the grand finals with a ton of momentum on your side. It's about trying to capitalize on whatever you've learned and put it into play in this final day, so you have that confidence going into this final week that you're going to be able to pull off something absolutely fantastic and get your team the glory they deserve.
Oh, I'm just kind of a little bit kind of in a shock, really, because what I'm anticipating, this dreadful. Oh no, CA, no, CA. We take our words back. We take our words back. We take it back, ladies and gentlemen. This really notorious glitch just handing the chicken dinner, and this has been happening across the other stages of the PMPLs also, right? But yeah, I think had that not been the case, could have been an easy chicken dinner. Cost them a hefty $500 here, and that is gonna really annoy the players of FMR3D.
Yeah, that is. That's gonna hurt, right? Because if you look at the damage graphs, they were dominating the lobby all the way through. I'm sure they would have wanted those 500 USD. They would have wanted the prize of that chicken dinner. They would have wanted the pride of the chicken dinner, but it's denied from them. And 420 will be the eventual benefactor. And he's just gonna be like, okay, I'll take it. It's quite curious too that their damage is 1420 for 420 boys. Or almost like he choreographed it to perfection.
Yeah, I think I do not know what to say from here on, right? Because FMR3D, I could clearly see all the players were shooting at 420, and he barely took any damage at all. But yeah, I mean, that's how life is. SALTxi8 team TUF, MetershotxSKY still maintaining that top 3 position. TUF, however, have risen on their ranks, have gotten that 2nd position secured for themselves. Team QWERTY also finding a little bit of more stability, as Clarity will also take a jump 1 step upwards. But what are we interested in the second part of the table, and that's where all the masala lies.
Yeah, exactly. Right now in this part of the table, it's just about those chicken dinners, which I actually just for this table want to see. Can QWERTY at this point just get 1 chicken dinner? I mean, it's a great accomplishment to be where they are without a chicken dinner, but it kind of hurts, right, to not walk away with any of those multiple $500 prizes. So for them, it's a small goal. We'll have to see if they can accomplish today. But as we move on to page 2, that's where things will get real interesting fixes, because XGeneration with this game, they've increased that gap from 12 points to 16 points. Meanwhile, Grounders, they're not able to get off to a good start whatsoever. So the gap is decreasing between them and XGeneration, now just 10 points, and Grounders potentially in some serious trouble.
Oh, they certainly are. And now it's going to be interesting, rather, to see if they're going to get toppled over. But for Regicide, more than that, I think they somehow need to make sure that they cross over XGeneration, and considering how XGeneration have been playing, it's going to be so difficult for them to catch up, right? They need at least one good chicken dinner game, and well, It's kind of getting really tedious. But the next matchup that we have for them for Regicide has to be the best Miramar of their lives, right? They have to get
Oh
some
my god.
positive results in that game because it's just that one last Miramar in the Super Weekend C, and they have to make it count. Regicide have always dominated Miramar, and more important than ever, they need this chicken dinner importantly right now.
They needed fixes, but I'm a little scared for them because yesterday they could have made it happen too. They got 0 points. They were the first teams eliminated, and the really interesting point was that they were eliminated by XGeneration. That sort of just started the beginning, or it was the beginning of the end for them with respect to that top 16 spot. XGeneration eventually later in the day took over, and since then that has been the story. So I absolutely agree. If Regicide is to make it back into the top 16, it has to be from our 12th match right here in Miramar, and I don't know, can they do it? We'll have to see.
Well, I mean, we certainly have to see as to what really happens in Miramar because honestly, anything is possible, right? We've seen those really very decent circles, I think quite contrasting to what we did see in the first Super Weekend. Really abysmal Miramar circles is what we were witnessing back then, but now it's been pretty much around the centers, nothing really out of ordinary. And yeah, as we take a look at the map chances, TUF, Freestyle, Regicide find themselves to be the clear favorites, with SALTxi8 and Clarity not really far behind.
Yep, and to be honest though, Fixus, I was thinking about what you mentioned about the circles. I kind of like abysmal circles. I 100% agree. It's been a lot more standard recently, and it's allowed teams like, that's why you can see TUF, SALTxi8, Clarity, all top teams in this top 5 map chance regard, right? But I like those ridiculous circles which somewhat give a little bit of a luck advantage to some of the smaller teams. I'm kind of hoping that something like that just sets itself up for TMW. I would love to see them at least get a chicken dinner, if not go away from this weekend with a qualification for the finals, maybe 500 USD.
I mean, at this moment, I'm really feeling bad for FMR3D. You know that's a constant regret that's going at the back of my mind. You know, them playing so very well till the end, just falling down to a bug where 420 points did not take any damage, and it was so hefty. It costed them $500, right? And had it been on any other given day, right, on any general normal day, I think it would have been pretty early on where Hassan, I believe, managed to get that knock.
Yeah.
But quite controversial things have already happened in this third Super Weekend, so really interesting to see in the finals. I mean, the first thing I would really hope is it to get fixed before the finals happening, because for now, I mean, it was not a game changer, just $500, just 88,000 Pakistani rupees, ladies and gentlemen, costed IFMR3D in giving away that chicken dinner, or rather the chicken dinner being taken away from them. I think that's the right way to put it in. But yeah, I think in the finals, I really hope this gets fixed. Otherwise, you know, this could be so game changing, right? Imagine the whole squad shooting at a player and him not taking any damage. Suddenly has become Superman, and well, you can't do anything about it.
You need kryptonite bullets, you know, and
yes,
that's now possible unless we get a new Superman update. PUBG Mobile, I'm not so sure. But right now, I believe the teams are getting ready for Miramar fixes, and I think really hoping that that simple, like almost external thing doesn't play a role in the qualification aspect. I hope it doesn't come in play when it comes to the XGeneration, but we won't have to wonder anymore. The match is live, so we'll head straight into it. And hey, the fan man has gone. Instead, we've got a couch now.
Oh yeah, and he's finding himself really comfortable when settled in, and this time on the right position. But I'm searching out for the players of FMR3D. You can feel that frustration in their hearts right now. I think I'm not going to be surprised if they're going to just land after Clarity and you know, just take them out of the picture. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the big bird in the sky, all the way from the southern side, Puerto Paraíso towards La Cobreria, and a pretty decent flight path trajectory, I must say.
Most definitely. Just a simple one that's going to be allowing all of the teams to access the specific points they want. Hacienda del Patron in the middle of that flight path is going to make it that much more interesting. How these four teams that we usually see around there really maneuver that area, because it does eventually become a hotspot later into the matchup. Right now though, just teams fanning out to their standard spots, and I'm quite curious to see what the teams are expecting in terms of the circle. I'm expecting more of a southern circle, maybe around the Chumacera Mountains, maybe around Monte Nuevo, something in that regard, but maybe we get to see something crazy, maybe it goes completely northwest or southwest.
Oh yeah, I certainly would want to see something around, well, I mean, we've been constant patrons of wanting it in Minas del Sur, right, in the southern islands. Come on, give that to us. There was one occasion, I think it was a PMNC of the Pakistan region that I was casting. You see CA on the map just beside Impala, those two little islands that we have. The circle shifted down there, and it kept on shifting over there with literally every team having had to take the waterways. I think it was NorthEsports that were quick in realizing that, and they took it, and I think they ended up getting the chicken dinner. So back in those days, I think it's not quite an old tournament, just maybe 7 or 8 months ago. But for now, I think SALTxi8 and NorthEsports, they've had this little bit of a understanding between each other, I believe, never really engaging against each other in Los Leones at the very least, as we see yet another default Miramar power grid circles. Yeah, I'm not really surprised, but I wanted something different. I wanted something to really, really shake my mind.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's almost like the teams are expecting something different, because we only have Regicide and QWERTY in the Hacienda del Patron area. TMW have shifted, Star have shifted, MetershotxSKY have shifted. I think all of these teams are expecting an Eastern Circle, but they are quite surprised in what delivers, which is we see that standard circle, power grid circle, as you said, come out through. Just now, teams, they're going to have to play on the rotation. A heavy shift coming in for these teams from the eastern area. I wonder if an aggressive team like Freestyle will spot that out and try to fight for it.
Oh yeah, I think we've got to see if they do actually. But for now, I think for QWERTY, they're going to be really happy, especially ever since the grounders have given them that room to breathe down there. I think they're good to go. But for now, again, you know, this is going to be interesting as to how teams are going to be dealing with the southeastern shift, right? We've got so many teams out there. Clarity, NorthEsports, Quantum Ridge, SALTxi8, Star. They've all got to make their way inside the circle, and the western side seems to be quite vacant. And the ground is heading towards El Pozo. Is such a good thing to do right now over here, right? Because now they've got so much ground to play around. They've got so many hills to contest, and they can directly go towards the very center and hold on that spot if need be.
Yeah, and now Regicide, they're gonna, I think, really try to enact the same philosophy. A lot of these teams try to get into the circles, into the spots, like the way, as you mentioned, Grounders have got themselves a really nifty one with nobody around. Could be the game for them to break out from the pack. You know, you get a good game, they're still in the 15th spot. If they're able to get a 15-20 point game, it's not a 100% guarantee, but it's a safe guarantee that you will make it to the top 16, because it's going to become very hard for all the teams to catch up to you at that point. But we'll have to see fixes, because I think one thing we have realized with PMPL Pakistan over these last 3 weeks is anything can happen. And just as I'm saying it does. Magnus spot out a rotating XGeneration. They fire the shots, but they're not able to get the knock.
Oh yeah, and for Magnus again, the same old story, right? Off to a really thunderous start, and somewhere between they kind of tend to lose out the players, but this time have managed to thwart off the threat looming around Picado. And let's just hope that you know, Mom2 and Adil with the buggy, they're just gonna move around. I think it's gonna be quite interesting for them as to how, or rather where, they're gonna be heading next. Are they gonna pick any fights, or are they gonna focus on positions?
Yeah, exactly, and that's where we'll also learn how these teams will be functioning when it comes to those fights. We're seeing a lot of the teams much more looser, while a lot of the teams are a lot more scared, like XGeneration, for example, because they have their tournament lives on the line right here. So of course the worry will exist, but really for the rest of the teams, it's all about just building up that performance. And we talked about how QWERTY haven't got a chicken dinner just yet, still searching for their first one despite their consistent top performance in the Super Weekend. So now the circle clearly favoring them. They're almost in the middle of it. Maybe this is their game to make it happen.
Oh yeah, this certainly could be the game that they were looking out for. But more importantly, I think we've got our eyes glued at how Regicide are going to perform, as they've dropped off just beside MetershotxSKY. So it's going to be rather interesting to see. And 52x Rage, well, interestingly enough, I think have had a really good first game. The way these lads have been playing, they have been looking to be gaining a lot of finishes, gaining a lot of ground and everything. But for now, 52x Rage. Now they're just going to move out. Nothing much happening inside this. As long as we do not see that second shift, we will not get to find any action. But I think like you were saying, right, 420 boy really is catching up on crypto, and the question remains, just 10 finishes less is where he finds himself in terms of damage number, pretty much on equal grounds here. So do you think he might be able to topple over King Crypto today?
Today, yeah, maybe. I think most definitely possible. I'm more wondering about this game itself, so at least in terms of damage, if he's able to topple King Crypto, because we associate that King Crypto idea because of a reason that we've seen him just be so damn dominant in his ability to continuously get those results. Will it continue today? We'll have to see. Again, it seems like today is the day of casual driving followed by random shots, because we've seen it once, we're going to see it again and again. TMW just driving past one by one and basically having fireworks played for them while they do it.
Oh yeah, and it is going to keep going on as Freestyle. They've managed that one knock, but can they continue this, as Malik is just going to ruthlessly drive over El Fatia, and a manslaughter over there as Freestyle. I think they're going to be looking for blood, but it's going to be interesting if they are willing to let go of the stronghold at Hacienda del Patron. So that's definitely one thing. Clearly you could see the desperation in those boys, the way they are getting their loot done. But for now, SALTxi8, they're also on the move.
Yeah, SALTxi8 trying to find their spot inside the circle. They'll probably just take control of the mountain on the west of La Bandita and hold on there, try to contest Freestyle in their position. Now with the circle closing in as well, fixes, we're going to get to see where teams do eventually elect to settle down. Right now though, the focus does seem to be on just getting those high areas. When we see that circle shifting towards the north, the La Cabrera mountains are completely empty right now. I think Regicide will head on to there real quick. They'll have a nifty spot in the circle.
Oh, they certainly will. And this is nothing, this is nothing that catches us off guard, right? Only barring the fact that we're going to see some action beginning on the southern side, and the perfect combination, the Grotza with the AR suppressor, happens quite rarely, but has happened this time around. So I'm really going to anticipate someone to go after it, but for now, Freestyle, they're going to have to try to get their hands dirty in trying to take down the players of SALTxi8. But look at Uzum's position. If he could capitalize on that high ground, which he's eventually doing, then this could spark trouble for Freestyle.
Man, I don't know about Malik's and Vasi's position at all. Okay, Vasi. There we go. He's going to jump down now. Playing with my heart almost for a second right there. You got Harry from TMW picking up that airdrop, but still I'm not a fan of Freestyle's positions. They're just so exposed. Fixes, they might get exposed any second, but you know Freestyle, they want to push in aggressively. Tyrant though just gets slapped in the face, and Blade, he's gonna look for more as he tries to shut down Freestyle all by his lonesome. And you know what, a player like Blade can make it happen, but instead he gets caught out. Malik OP, the most consistent player, coming up huge, but all he gets is one, instantly traded by SALTxi8 Refuse.
Yeah, and this is so disastrous for SALTxi8. I really felt they could have gotten those trades, but Freestyle seem to have changed things over here, just tipping the scales equal right now, as Uzum has to come in from far behind, has to protect his teammate, as fights have started to begin from every direction, especially on the southern side. So many teams getting caught off guard, and XGeneration being taken down so early. It's going to be such a breathing respite for the players of Reg side at this point. Who I believe are going to be rotating inside the circle, rather have tried to contest for the center.
Exactly, Red side is in the center, so when they see these XGeneration players dropping like flies, they're going to be so happy, and I think it'll give them the clear indication they just need to play for the late game. They need to try and pull off the highest position they can. For SALTxi8, they're able to now make quick work of Freestyle. The damage has been done. SALTxi8 have lost one member already, and Freestyle, despite their obvious wrong push, are able to get away still alive in terms of the squad, but not much else. 3 players taken down. Vasi left on his lonesome. Given his aggressive nature too, I doubt he's lasting for very long.
Me too. But for now, Vasi finds himself in really troubled waters, and for a moment I really felt that, you know, if Freestyle could have gotten a few more finishes over there. But by the looks of it, I think SALTxi8 do not have any intentions of trying to close in the gap, as Vasi, he lies just behind that rock, and yeah, SALTxi8, they're gonna make a move, as the circle has formed for us, ladies and gentlemen, just around the San Martin area. And I'm rather surprised nobody has taken over those San Martin southern hills, because I think if nobody has, SALTxi8 are definitely on their way.
Yeah.
But for now, teams who do have that little bit of an advantage will of course be the likes of Magnus. But at the same time, I think I'm anticipating a little bit of a kerfuffle going to begin between MetershotxSKY and SALTxi8.
I'm actually have my eyes around that water treatment area. You've got Regicide, FMxR3D and TMW all moving around the same area, and Grounders. All 4 teams in that contestation at risk point. Of course not FMxR3D as scared anymore now that they've got that 217 mark with their first match coming through, but the rest of the teams, Team Grounders, XGeneration and Regicide, all in that same area, could be a hot spot. But again, the tale of Miramar today is that cars will drive by and players will just not be able to track, and we have to accept it because they just can't track today.
And look at Khan being a little pesky there, just making sure, flattening out their tires, trying to close off their means of escape. But look at this spread from QWERTY, quite interesting, and we are still yet to get that winner chicken dinner from Team QWERTY, as it's a very interesting 3-1 split, and quite understandably why I could get the feeling, because of course like we know the basic rules that we have seen the majority of the circle just steering off the cities, right? But Khan acting as a contingency plan for his team, as Magnus, they would want to secure this knock of Alpha, get the finish point to themselves, as there you go, well secured, just that one finish coming in their favor, as we're still in pursuit to see where the next shift is going to be. Now, see, if I ask you to make some predictions, you know, see to the future, where do you think the zone might possibly go?
I think maybe Northwest involves some compounds from Hacienda del Patron, and most of the high ground that Regicide and Team Grounders are contesting right now, and really put a lot of pressure on all of the teams towards that southwest mountain area. It really is just a question of mountains, right? If it comes completely towards the right, then maybe both mountains come into play. But if it goes a little more up, a little more down, one of those mountains is just going to be out of play. It's going to force those teams to come out down the slope into the open and be at the mercy of the teams in their opposite mountain to just knock them down.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh, there you go, there you go. Things are working out very well for Team QWERTY. You know, both their plans still intact. You know, even if it goes up to the hills, they still have 3 players. But for FMR3D, they've got to make a move. They've got to make a run for inside the circle, as the nearby unfriendly neighbors will be MetershotxSKY SalTxi8 who I believe has spotted out Anubis. Will take a go at him, but quite unable to connect any shots.
Oh, but look at this hotspot though. We've got that circle making that shift towards the northwest as all of these teams now trying to move in. You've got QWERTY just trying to hold their ground. TUF though found the first knock against Quantum Rage, and then together Team Grounders and Clarity pincer down the members of 52x Rage, who just get caught trying to get into the circle. Now with the circle the way it is, fixes again, the fight between Regicide and Team Grounders is going to come up huge. These teams right next to each other in the rankings. If Regicide get a win there, it could be a huge shot for them coming up strong. But Team Grounders, they're securing elimination point after elimination point as they look to hold their own on their mountain.
Oh, they certainly look to do that, as the Grounders just playing around. The HSS Teen Wolf knocks himself down by falling, and he needs to get himself back up. It's going to be such a tedious and a difficult task with QWERTY being the king of the hills, as Gravity, he's got to hold the fort over here, as Teen Wolf taking some damage from elsewhere, as Gravity will keep on trying to drop a few grenades, but Crypto seems to have stolen, or rather secured that finish to his name. SALTxi8, one more finish point added to their tally, and against Team Clarity's 420 boy, I mean, he's got a race that Crypto needs to win at this point. Wolf Reach just taking cover behind that little tree over there, but Clarity just maintaining sure that they have the lower grounds. All they've got to do is be a little bit more patient.
Just a little bit more patience will get them a lot more value, but maybe we see 420 boy not able to have that patience because he must be feeling himself. He will want to just move forward on the hunt. But hey, sometimes the hunt being slowed down can reward you the most. Right now though, we've got all of these teams in the west moving in. You've got TUF piling on that pressure. Mom2 will get finished, and it looks like Quantum Rage might just be next, but TUF, they actually don't look in that direction. Serious should be able to slip by, but for how long is the question, because he just escaped the fire to walk into the frying pan.
Oh yeah, at this point, oh, Rollin just barely surviving from the clutches, as 420 boy is just gonna drop around as many spokes as possible over here, because for now QWERTY still maintaining that higher ground. No finishes whatsoever to their name as things stand, but quite an interesting spread. Now this is what is concerning me. This is what has been bugging me, is Regicide coming in from behind, but Cairo making sure leading the charge will be under heavy fire as he finally falls down, getting shot from elsewhere. As TUF, they're going to capitalize on that situation. Respect going after Virus, gets that knock though. Edgar not able to really get the trade off for his teammate, but Respect has to go behind a little bit, as Joker, he's been taken down to the play zone, and TUF, one after the other, they are just falling down.
TUF seem to be completely crumbling apart. Magnus able to finish them off. It's really just that last standing member. It all started off with TUF taking a bite out of Magnus, but with the help of a couple of other teams there, Respect able to avenge his fallen comrades. But all of that chaos has allowed, slowly but surely, MetershotxSKY to creep into the circle. They've got Regicide and FMxR3D trying to make it from the north. FMxR3D again stuck in the slope, stuck on the cliff. They'll just have to pray and hope that somehow Regicide stop looking in that direction and make the rotation, and then maybe FMxR3D can follow from the back.
Oh yeah, I think they certainly have to over here, as Gravity And the boys from Team QWERTY still maintaining such an amazing position. No finishes, however, as FMR3D are going to be going up against Regicide. Vas already taken down, but in the same process, Insane has managed to secure a trade on towards Hassan, as a grenade is going to be following suit, as Nocto he just has this one objective right on his mind, that is to destroy the vehicles, as the Molotovs are going to be coming in, and Pika needs to drop and roll, but how does he survive, CA? Just by the whiskers. And Regicide, they're unaware. They are unaware of the fact that Pika is hiding right under their noses. Oh.
Pika, he's gonna be able to get away with bloody murder right here. Is he gonna take the shots? He does just about now. Will find Voltrex and knock him down. Was as well. Can he make it 3 out of 3 with Insane? The answer is no. He's shut down by Nocto, coming up clutch to rescue his team. He will finish off Finisher as well and keep Regicide alive, Fixes, because the 2 players who got knocked, they should be able to get revived.
Oh yeah, and for now, I mean, you've got to feel bad for the players there, right? Pika really putting his hearts out, but still managed to get some hefty amount of damage. A huge blow to Regicide in trying to get a chicken, as they've got a cut out on their losses. Will have to get inside the circle with just 2 players, as QWERTY have finally managed to get a single finish, as Insane getting spotted off. Did have 1 bullet connect on him by Destroyer, but that was just about it, as the next circle shift is going to be so important, as it shifts again towards the players of QWERTY and Clarity combined, as Wolverine would spot out Nocto's rather uncharacteristic movement over there, trying to get inside the better of the circle, and has been dealt with by the players of QWERTY.
QWERTY just holding on, still looking for that first chicken dinner, or in a decent spot to make it happen, especially with their players nicely split apart. They are one of the few teams with that 4-man squad, with only them, Star and TmwEsports, having that full squad, but with just them in the circle, they are in a great location to try and pull it off. Now, the way this circle is situated, Fixes, it's quite interesting how those compounds are going to come into play, because while they provide cover, they are vulnerable to nades. At the same time, you see Shapatar taking down Avenger OP, again whittling down the opposition one by one as they try to force their way inside the circle.
Oh yeah, and it's getting more interesting than ever at this particular point, as you know, we're gonna start watching all the finishes happen left, right and center right now, as Khan, he started picking up pace, right? He's getting a few finishes to his own name, as the zone again has shifted towards where Clarity are, right? Not troubling them. SALTxi8, they're going to be around the edges. They're waiting for that perfect opportunity to come barging in, as the grounders are about to knock on the doors of Team Clarity, as Zibyan has no trouble getting that knock and a finish secured on the players of TmwEsports. Was it stolen away just now?
Oh, might just be the case for SALTxi8. Look at that. They're being so daring, trying to get across open land, and they get punished. Reviews will get taken down, and Khan will finish him off, leaving Crypto stuck in this land all by himself. Now, Crypto, he's the last surviving member for SALTxi8, so I'm sure he's just going to play for time. But similarly, Clarity in a bad situation. They're stuck in the middle of nowhere on the very slope, just like TMW are right now, and QWERTY tried to spray them down. TMW, they're just trying to survive as long as they can, get as many finishing points, and that's why they'll be happy that another member of QWERTY, actually Gravity, is able to shut down Clarity and eliminate them.
You know, just a couple of minutes ago, they were sitting with just 1 finish, and look at them right now, 11. And that clearly shows, right? All you need is that one good spot to hold on to Miramar. But Khan finally being the sacrificial lamb over there for his team. We know of his heroics. He was inside the city and could not make it to his teammates in due time, as Wolverine still king of the hill right now, has 2 finishes on him, and certainly has the potential to be getting a lot more, but he's looking at the bigger picture, right? He's sort of backed off, trying to get a better position inside the circle, as the nearest threat to him will be in the form of Team TMW.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I think Wolverine, he's going to have to play this very, very smart, because you can see QWERTY, they are separated. Destroyer is starting to come closer to Wolverine to back him up, so does have that little bit of extra cover, but it's not immediate cover as such. It's not like the teammate is right next to him, so he needs to be that much more careful about how he plays this particular situation. Right now, the Wolverine is playing it pretty well, abusing the fact that he's got that high ground advantage, forcing out a ton of utility from TMW without giving them much information.
Yeah, and now Wasi, he's survived for quite some time. But is Crypto aware about him, sneaking him from the backlines? I think clearly has got the audio cues right now, and it's going to be such an interesting 1v1 situation between two of the most amazing players, and it will be Crypto who comes out on top. Did not even have to break a sweat over there, as Wolverine still being very alert, very vigilant, but now could be susceptible to fire from two different directions, one from TMW, one from SALTxi8.
And look at this, Fixes. You got Wolverine just trying to hold on. His gravity is on a rampage. He's actually on his lonesome trying to hold down Grounders and SALTxi8, and he does so. Wolverine responds on the other side, and it's domination by QWERTY all the way through. They're not even letting the teams enter the circle. They want to end the discussion on its very edges, deny the teams an opportunity to even play, as QWERTY will most likely finish off TMW right here on one direction, and the Grounders eliminated at another. TMW, they'll be happy with that. That guarantees them number 3, potentially even number 2 if Crypto dies here.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen pretty soon. But Big Boss, he's up for that healing battle, and I think could be the right possible decision if he has one more first aid. Yes, he does. But how many does Crypto have? Because I believe QWERTY finally very close to getting that first chicken dinner secured. As Crypto, I don't think there's any chance on earth that he can survive this, as he gets taken down to the play zone. Big Boss somehow still alive, still in contention, though has managed to secure that knock onto its Wolverine, and barely has any healing to work around with, and with the entire squad of QWERTY following up suit, it's going to be so difficult for him to clutch it around at this particular situation.
Certainly is, Fixes. But QWERTY still pull it off. We were wondering if they were going to get at least one chicken dinner in all of the Super Weekends so far, and QWERTY say yes, but they don't just say yes, they say yes with a mighty stamp. 14 eliminations, just displaying the dominance which you can really exhibit your circle control, refusing all of these teams access to those circles, and pulling off a phenomenal 500 USD victory for themselves. QWERTY with the 29 points, just winner chicken dinner.
Yes, winner chicken dinner, and finally I think it took them a lot of games to get that win, and the $500 finally coming into their purse. A happy feeling, I must say, for them. But majority of it had already been won with that really amazing rotation, taking control over the San Martin Hills and just waiting for the circle to shift to them. And I think it was such a good plan coming out from Khan, especially him steering off the pack, making sure he's the one who provides cover fire. He's the one to be present if the circle just in case shifts down towards the San Martin city, and everything seemed to have worked perfectly fine for them. Gravity garnering a lot of finishes, I think 6 or 7. We'll get to see that, but SALTxi8, Crypto, I mean, just when we were thinking that, yeah, this is the moment by the end of today's evening, 420 boy might be able to topple him over. Crypto responds with a 7 finish bomb in this particular matchup, and again, I mean, somehow the players of SALTxi8 tend to do it. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be pushing for a short little break. After that, we will be back with the post-match analysis.
Go!
It's your chance
to reach the biggest. Let the action begin.
Well, with that, we do have 3 games remaining now. Of course, I'm going to be Blor joining us for the remaining games along with CA for this 3rd game of the day. And dude, I mean, this final day, again, we were all talking about it, we were all expecting it, and definitely these teams, they are delivering that exact sort of a blow, but in style as well.
Yeah, exactly. In style, Blotter. QWERTY able to pick up this chicken dinner coming through from Miramar. It really just getting themselves out as the odd one out, you know, finally
exactly, right?
Getting that chicken dinner. But a big blow to the edge side, because we were talking about how if they were to come back, it has to be this game. They're not able to make it happen. But the MVP, we were talking about this player right before the break as well. It is King Crypto indeed. 420 boy threatened his top spot with a 1v3 in our match 1, and Crypto says, well, let me show you how it's done. Picks up the MVP, easy peasy.
Exactly. I mean, of course, every single time whenever you have somebody try and take that away from one of the teams that has been dominating in such an impressive way, of course, I mean, that team is not going to be staying quiet, and that is exactly what Crypto did right there. Absolutely stopping his opponents, or not necessarily stopping, of course, but letting them know that, all right, you have what it takes, well, I've got it better as well. And, well, again, I mean, all of that conversation we will come back to, right? Because, again, that will matter that much more, the kill leaders and being the MVP, because in the finals, there's going to be money involved along with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where we'll have to see if these players are able to maintain the consistency. There's no if when it comes to me for Crypto, but I think the rest, they still haven't earned that regard yet. Some are quite close to it, I think, namely Gravity, Wolverine, Gravity especially, man. The firepower he's shown over the last week, just single-handedly, for example, in that last game, is holding down his angle and working his magic beautifully, getting those 6 eliminations. And you can see that domination from Team QWERTY. They control the circle, and they made sure teams remember that. Like, you don't give QWERTY solo access to those final circles. They're just going to wipe you out if you do that.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we did see them do again and again, of course. But what a wonderful way to absolutely again control the flow as well. I mean, the first game itself, you talk about the aggressiveness that was being showcased from 420 boy, it was, right, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just the final day has a different energy that has pushed these teams to bring up the best in them. And again, I mean, if you to look at just the 2 teams in front of us right on our screens, TmW, sensational performance coming in from their side, even though it was a bit on the low front, but it's absolutely fine, because again, walking away with decent amount of points is what is where it matters, and that is where they did certainly deliver. Along with that, the biggest, I guess, the highlight of this entire day would definitely be that QWERTY finally getting a chicken dinner before they jump into the finals, grand finals.
Yep, exactly. QWERTY really for them no longer the odd ones out.
Exactly.
But I think other teams as well stepping up in that regard. TmW had a great game. 3rd spot for them overall will at least add a little bit of hopium to them potentially now trying to make it out of the kerfuffle they're in, really. The idea that they're just in this position where it's quite difficult for them to make top 16. But hey, maybe is the name of the game, and they'll play that maybe game, the hopium game, as long as they can, just hoping that somehow they'll make it happen.
Another thing to bring up along with the hope is also the fact that they're utilizing the opportunity, right? They're not accepting defeat, and they're utilizing the opportunity to be a part of this lobby, of course, is a huge deal. And then to be able to play against all of these players. Now, I'm not saying that they were granted this opportunity. Of course, they fought for it, and therefore they are here. But now still to be able to, participate in every single game and take on your opponents, that itself is a big experience and a learning curve that TmW is walking away with, and that itself will most certainly, I mean, I'm pretty certain that we're most certainly going to be looking back at this team in just a couple of months in a different tournament path.
No, 100%. And I think that's where it's going to make it that much more interesting later to see their growth. But right now, looking at the zone analysis of QWERTY, it was quite simple. They started in their standard Hacienda del Patron area. The circle kept collapsing around them, and they definitely had the favor of the draw in that regard. But the way they were able to step it up was in the fact that I think the one thing you can't take away from them is simply that they played it to perfection. They just were able to time and time again pull out so much value for the circle they owned, and really proving that, again, we've got so many of these top teams to look out for going into the grand finals.
True, that is so true, of course, and that itself definitely is a big boost for us as well, because it makes the energy kind of increase a little based on based on it being the final day. And also the other front is that all these teams, they are, I mean, the way that they're playing actually is definitely going to be bringing up what to expect, the anticipations basically from the fans as well, right? Every single team has showcased that. So definitely the grand finals, I mean, that is going to be a massive hunt for talent. From one team to the next, every team is going to be absolutely pincering down.
Oh, it's going to be nuts, really, as the way the finals unfolds. And we'll have to hold on to our horses for that, because right now, looking at the Oppo F21 Pro Mints, and by the way, talking about exciting things coming, the F21 Pro, it's coming tomorrow, Blotter. So I'm sure a lot of our viewers are excited. Maybe some we might see currently watching PMPL while sitting in the line, outside the store, waiting for the store to open up. But looking at these pro moments, we really saw Regicide. They had a chance, but just not able to find much out of it.
Exactly. Absolutely, and of course, when we move on along, FMxR3D as well, they also tried. They definitely tried to hold their fort strong for as long as they possibly could. But again, you look at QWERTY, they were in control. Look at the way that they had control of that zone as well. The numbers definitely working in their favor. The grounders certainly trying to come in around, and MetershotxSKY Esports, I mean, throughout the entire final, this third Super Weekend, MetershotxSKY Esports have had a very consistent approach to every single game, that is to just try and get as many points as they can. If not, then work towards those placement points, but always be in the top 8 to the top 5.
Yeah, exactly, and that consistency has been the lovely part about MetershotxSKY Esports, most definitely. But I think even more than that, what has been really cool is their ability to maintain their identity, to continuously be aggressive while they're doing the same, right? So I'm really excited for what kind of MetershotxSKY Esports we're going to really get to see come out when we look to the next Super Weekend coming about. But I think really right now, what is going to be even cooler is somehow witnessing these teams pull out something different, have a player pop off the way 420 Boy did, because I think at this point I just want to celebrate our final Super Weekend for what it is, and be happy in those glorious moments players are able to pull off.
Absolutely, and well, that is where we do have the damage draft to talk about, because as you talk about, well, enjoying yourself, Team QWERTY definitely enjoyed the map of Miramar, with almost reaching 2,500 damage in total just from their side, and the team that is going to be below them is almost 1,000 points shy, 1,000 damage points shy, of course. That is going to be the side of SALTxi8 with almost 1,600 damage. So yeah, a big chunk. That was what we saw from the side of Team QWERTY. And if there is any indication based on the graph that we're looking at for the side of MetershotxSKY Esports, yeah, this team is also definitely going to be looking a lot more stronger. And now that they've gotten a basic idea of how the lobby is playing and what the lobby actually is, yeah, when it comes to the grand finals itself, we can definitely anticipate the side of MetershotxSKY Esports and the likes of the others as well, 52x Rage and all, to be able to bring back the glorious moments that they showcased in week 1 and week 2.
Yeah, week 1 and week 2 have really set us up for the grand finals very well, and week 3 is capping it off like a beautiful cherry on the cake. QWERTY, with that chicken dinner, propelled themselves to that second spot, though still far away from the Kings on the top of the hills, which is SALTxi8. But 3-star as well with a decent performance, now pushing H2E down to 10. And I do wonder if any particular team does eventually end up overtaking H2E in that regard and find themselves pushing H2E down to that bottom 11. Because right now H2E, you can see on the back of some brilliant performances in week 1 and 2, are still holding their top 10 spot strong, despite not playing in this particular Super Weekend. But as we head on to the spicy area, Blotter, we've got that 15, 16, 17 battlegrounders increasing their lead over XGeneration, while between XGeneration and Regicide, it stays more or less the same, that 13 point. But the real difference is in TMW, now crossing the 100-point mark with their performance.
That is true. That is definitely true. And right now, I mean, for them to cross over Quraysh Esports definitely is going to be a easy 2-minute affair perhaps in the game. But then after that, of course, they try. I just hope that they just keep trying to get as close as they possibly can to Regicide, because well, that is what we want for them. And 3 games is still a huge undertaking and an opportunity that can very well be capitalized upon on the other front for the side of Regicide as well. It's going to be the same case and story from them, because we can hope that the 3 games that are remaining, they're able to get these numbers working for them and slowly but surely move into the top 16.
Yeah, exactly. And man, it's gonna get extremely spicy after the second Erangel, because I feel like in Sanhok, honestly, anything can happen, and that's why the Erangel is gonna give us a clear indication of which team is feeling the pressure going into that Sanhok. But talking about exciting things, we've got this live item drop of the UMP on the PUBG Mobile Esports Pakistan channel, so make sure you go on over there, don't miss it whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure you're going to be watching the match, but with that, it's just an extra thing we've got for you in the bag.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, everybody's actually playing with a UMP, of course. There's no two ways about it. And when you end up getting one of these wonderful live items from the game itself, being a part of PMPL, it is definitely going to be a big boon that you can utilize and showcase to your friends that, hey, look at that, that is what I've got. And again, I mean, these are things that you only get once, right? So you won't be able to participate, and the only moment is right now. And with that, sheesh, 2 games done, dude. 3 games remain. And with that, we go back to the map of Erangel. And now on Erangel, I want to ask, because to be very honest, I was not able to participate in the first game of Erangel. I was not able to see it. So I just wanted to ask, based on how Metershot has been playing, do you think they could maybe have a resurgence on this Erangel?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. They had a good shout in that first game. But I think it's FMxR3D which will want to once again prove that the first match was just a misser. They lost the chicken dinner in that 1v3, but they still had a phenomenal performance with over 14 eliminations, I believe. So FMxR3D will try to continue their performance in that regard. But I think really Erangel has just become a standard set. So I really want to see teams try to somehow switch it up, you know, find some variety. We saw the variety in the last game, actually. TMW switching up their drop location, going for that shelter area instead of the standard Zarki. It worked against them, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Zarki now.
Well, I mean, we could very well see some sort of a play like that, and that is something that we have spoken about earlier as well. This being the final day, of course, teams are going to try and use that sort of YOLO strat that we like to call it, and of course, that kind of at times does bring in an X factor, and as so perfectly mentioned by CA as well, that was done by the side of TmwEsports. So let's see in this third game if that will be the same case or not. For now, again, I mean, when it comes to these teams, they are of course prepped, they are of course ready, but there's only going to be that one walking away with that chicken dinner, and for that one, well, we're going to have to wait just another 20-25 minutes and we shall have an answer. Again, when it comes to the side of SALTxi8, there is no stopping them. That has definitely been confirmed from their side. On the other front, of course, is going to be QWERTY, who are also seeming to be like, all right, well, every other team has apparently gotten some money in the bank. We're looking pretty good, but how about we try and chime along into that pitching department, and that's what they've done in the previous game. And let's see, maybe in this upcoming one, the journey could be the same for their side, because they do end up surviving for quite a long time.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they're able to make it happen once again. Right now, though, of course, the teams will be going on heading into the match as we get our Erangel started now. The flight path, we're gonna see it. Oh, seems to be there's a bit of a technical issue, so we're gonna have the rehost coming in, which means we will get to see a renewed flight path. It won't be what we just saw on our screens a second back, and I'm curious how it does end up changing. The one we had right now was quite standard.
Yeah, it was. Definitely was. But, you know, again, whenever we've seen those standard sort of flight paths, you remember, I mean, when it comes down to those standard paths, it always deviates into a very crazy final zone. And, but maybe that was what is, maybe that was in store for us. But apparently that will, of course, not be allowed, as we are going to get a different game hosted together. And when it does, this time around, a different play, a different ball game that these teams are going to be playing along with. And when it comes to, once again, I mean, so when it comes to the rivalry, yesterday we did see XGeneration get in a little bit of a kerfuffle. Has something like that also kind of ensued today?
I think it was definitely, well, it hasn't happened yet. I mean, at least voluntarily. It's been teams usually just clashing without knowing that they're in the surroundings of each other. But I think it's most definitely plausible. We'll have to see which teams do end up actually trying something like that.
Because again, I mean, just remembering those that play being from XGeneration yesterday against Regicide, they got that one knock and then the 1 point confirmed elimination point. And as soon as they found out that that's Regicide, they just completely started running after them. It was almost like a race that they were in with both the teams after each other in vehicles, and catching up to them and then completely obliterating them. And that's the only team. And that's the only elimination point that the team of XGeneration walked away with in that game of, I think it was Miramar itself. And so, again, I mean, that is all that they could maybe do. Or, again, I mean, maybe it was all about just being able to get up on above them, because Regicide is on that 17th position right now. So maybe that is all that they wanted. And now that rivalry is kind of fizzled out because they've gotten the advantage that they needed. So, yeah, but apart from all of that as well, when it comes to these teams, again, every single time we know all of them are going to be jumping in with a lot of momentum working for them, a wonderful synergistic play working for them, just perfect communication, the way that they're able to get themselves rolling across from one fight to the next, and also take on multiple fights as well, because that is something that we've seen QWERTY do a couple of times as well on the other front from the side of TMW, as we did just witness in this previous game. Holding on steady, right? I mean, they did not work for just getting those elimination points. Yes, they did have a few, but holding on steady and just letting the other teams play their game is something that they've learned, I believe, over the period of weeks. And that itself is a huge boon that has been given to them from this PMPL, I would say.
100%. I think we've really seen that evolution come through from QWERTY. From week one, if you remember, they were the team that was looking a little shaky. We knew they had the potential, you know, we saw it, but they were looking maybe a little nervous, a little shaky, weren't really finding themselves hit the ground running. But since then, they've just made step by step improvement, and improved so much because of the same. Now in that second spot in the overall ranking, showing themselves clearly as what we expected. You know, this is the winning team coming in from the qualifiers. We were expecting them to be one of the main teams challenging SALTxi8, and they're right up there doing exactly that.
Absolutely, and of course we wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, definitely wouldn't have it any other way, because when it comes to the teams in Pakistan lobby right now, when it comes to this 2022's PMPL season, I am very, very excited, because there's just so much of chaos that is being ensued by these teams that, yeah, I mean, you cannot genuinely just pick one team. Okay, well, apart from that one team that everybody's thinking of, apart from that one team, right? Exactly. The other teams, they are still in very close contention. So the opportunity and that opening and possibility of another team getting that that X team getting that spot in the grand finals is still a huge possibility, I would say. A huge percentage of prediction, I would say, is going to be theirs. But what team? What team? That is questionable. 52X Rage have in second week been really phenomenal. H2E in League Play Day week 1 were horrendous. So was SALTxi8 actually. But then in the Super Weekend itself from week 1, H2E just picked up that slack. Same did the case for SALTxi8. So the Grounders, another team that have had that sort of climbing up to Mount Everest, reaching on the third peak and then just completely falling down again. So yeah, a lot of ups and downs, but overall now they're looking pretty consistent. All of these teams, in fact, I would say. And they've kind of warmed up amongst the lobbies and against themselves as well. So the grand finals, yeah, I'm just pointing all these things out that I'm thinking about, and why I think that the grand finals are going to be that much more of a close contestation than what the side of SALTxi8 have been able to capitalize upon from that first week's incredible play.
100%. Right now, though, I'm just excited to see this third match unfold, plotted, because I want to see which teams make it to the grand finals in the first place. Right. Because, to be honest, mathematically, it's still plausible that in the next 3 games, we see chicken dinners from Grounders, XGeneration, and Regicide, and all of them finish in the top 3 in every single 3 games left, and somehow managed to kick 4v TFD out, who are not playing. But it's very unlikely. Very unlikely.
True.
It has to be those teams finishing in the top 3 spots in every game, with each of them getting a chicken dinner, or at least I think Regicide may be getting 2 of those chicken dinners. So unlikely is the case. That's why the battle will just be between Regicide and XGeneration.
In fact, I mean, I think it would probably require the side of PUBG God's help, because no other team should get any elimination point, and only these 3 teams should, to be able to topple over the side of 4VTFD sitting on that 207 points. But this is something we kind of discussed yesterday as well. There is a possibility, definitely, but is it easy? Because we've got the side of XGeneration, nothing taken away from their play and their approach to the game, but it is looking a little tough, because you having to be that consistent in every single game is altogether a different level of pressure altogether that this team maybe might not be up to for the task. But I shouldn't call it out like that as well, so I'll keep it at your speculation and keep my fingers crossed. Maybe they are going to get close. Maybe they're going to get close, and what is going to be that much more wonderful is they get close, and then just by a matter of few points, like 2 or 3 points, they're able to make it. That would make things exciting, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. And it seems our technical issues are continuing though, so a bit of a lull in the excitement as we wait for things to get sorted out so that we can get back into action. But right now, really, I think one thing that has been set apart is SALTxi8's domination when it comes into play. Right? It's almost like teams are fighting for the second spot, not really for the first spot. And I'm curious to see if any teams are able to surprise us in that regard. Either maybe SALTxi8 have a bad weekend, which again, to be honest, very unlikely, or another team needs to have another team just needs to have a crazy weekend. Otherwise, to try and force something.
That's what I was pointing out too, right? I mean, when it comes down to them, the side of SALTxi8, they were able to capitalize on the opportunity that they were given in just that first week Super Weekend.
Yeah.
And that is where they started creating that lead for themselves. Had they not been given that opportunity from the entirety of the lobby, then things definitely would have been close, and really close is what I mean. Because there have been other teams who've been able to completely stop the side of the aggression of SALTxi8 and have actually been able to choke SALTxi8 as well. So I still do want to look forward to an opportunity and the possibility that when it comes to the grand finals, things are going to be that much more in contestation, and this kind of massive lead and the difference that we've got going on between SALTxi8 in a league of their own will hopefully not be the case.
Hopefully indeed. Crypto though, I think, is in a league of his own, so he's going to be on the strongest march, trying to ensure that his team as well, because of that, is in a league of their own. But all of this talk about leagues has got me wondering which teams from the PUBG Mobile Pro League will actually step it up to that much of an extent. But right now, it seems like the technical issues need a bit more time, so we're going to head on over towards a short break.
Go!
It's your chance
to reach the biggest. Let the action begin.
अभी तो फिलहाल हम मेकअप कर रहे हैं. Bandit doesn't know. का मतलब ये कि don't shoot. Game master, mach full team क्या खले? माँ का बेटा. हाय. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है PUBG मोबाइल के साथ कोलैबोरेट करके, और अब मुझे एक और तरीका मिल गया अपने फैंस से कनेक्ट होने का, पख्तून फैंस से. अपनी आवाज में PUBG मोबाइल खेलने का मौका मिलेगा, अपना अच्छा लगेगा, आप खुद सोचें. तो कोई एक चीज वियर्ड नहीं है, वो तो बहुत कुछ ऐसा कई दफा हुआ है कि थैंक यू वेरी मच कह के, या बिल्कुल खामोशी से मैं निकल गई. PUBG तो मैं सोच रही हूँ जो इस वक्त मेरी टीम यहाँ पे मैं इनके साथ खेलूँ. मजे का कीप रॉकिंग. यूथ में मेरी बहुत फैन फॉलोइंग है, और फैंस वाकई मुझसे बहुत ज़्यादा प्यार करते हैं, बहुत हार्डकोर हैं. तो लेट्स गो. अभी हम रास्ते में हैं और हम जा रहे हैं अपने स्टूडियो की तरफ वॉइस ओवर्स के लिए। वॉइस पैक आने वाला है PUBG मोबाइल में पश्तो में। सो यस मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड। माँ कवर का अलग का माँ से मदद का और मुझे प्राउड इस बात पे कि मैं पठान हूँ, मुसलमान हूँ। मैं आज जो हूँ जहाँ हूँ यकीनन मेरे कल्चर की कदर ही है जो मुझे यहाँ तक लेके आई।
आप लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग कब शुरू करें?
बहुत जल्द मुझे लगता है। इसके बाद तो एक बनता है सेशन, तो वो तो आप जल्दी देखेंगे मुझे। हेलो 1 2 3 4 चेक साउंड चेक। हाँ नहीं याला का मासरा मदद होगा माँ खबर का हाँ देर का याला का तो पक में पकार दे ज़मान फीक वार याला का बिया बपा यूज़े गेम का ज़्यादा बच करम मनना माँ खबर का देर का पमा बांधे डज़ों के। So thank you PUBG मोबाइल, आप लोगों ने मुझे मौका दिया, मैं बहुत अच्छी लग रही थी, बहुत सारे कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स मिले। थैंक यू।
It's your chance
to reach the biggest. Let the action begin.
So,
well,
it seems like we've got some technical issues with the client itself, which is going to force us to not be able to play out our matches today.
Sadly.
For the sake of competitive integrity, of course, and it is going to be the case where the matches are going to be played on a later date. All the details will be announced on the PUBG Mobile Pakistan official platform, so make sure you follow and subscribe on there.
Absolutely, that's going to be very, very crucial because again, we've spoken about this throughout the league itself. If at all one player is not able to join into the lobby, we are definitely going to allow them to rejoin and rehost the game altogether itself because that is the fair thing to do. And right now, again, if the entire lobby itself is having an issue, so we are definitely going to look into that. And along with that, of course, that does not mean that the game is forfeited. That does not mean that we have a random winner. The games will return. We will be back. But for that, you are to follow. I request you to follow all of these social media links that we do have, from YouTube to Facebook to Instagram, in fact, as well. Because as soon as that is fixed, the new dates are going to be released. And we'll be back again with the remaining games and then move on into the grand finals. And dude, I mean, wow, this is just a... what do I say? I mean, there's like a perfect gift in disguise from the PUBG gods to these teams, because now they've got the opportunity to just sit back, relax, maybe even practice a lot more, and then the 3 games could be a complete different onslaught from one of these teams sitting at the bottom.
Yeah, but for now, we'll have to sit back and relax as well, wait for the official statement. Make sure you follow the PUBG Mobile Pakistan official pages and make sure you get yourselves into the store for the F21 Pro launch tomorrow. But with that, it is going to be the end of our show today. Sayonara. Bye-bye.